Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you're all here. Welcome to a new video. Today we have a pick a card reading for you. Why do I talk like that? We have a pick a card reading for you. It is a little bit of a different style pick a card. I was rewatching one of my old ones, which was the story of your subconscious, which I did during Hello Tarot Week. If you're new here, you might not know what that is, but anyway, you'll know around. If you stick around, you will get to know when we get to October. Basically, it's when I put together a story of, or create a personified version of a part of yourself. So today we are doing the story of your higher self. So we're gonna, well, I've created we've got three options today. So there is three different stories that embody the energy of your higher self. I don't know if I did it last time, I don't think I did, but I did visuals as well. So you can either watch it with your eyes closed and just listen, or you can watch it with your eyes open. I guess you're not watching it if your eyes are closed, so do with that information what you will, but yeah. And then at the end of each reading, I'm gonna like go into a little bit more depth of what energy I got from your higher self, and and hopefully give you more context to the story that was created. So that is what today's pick a card is going to be. And let's go ahead and show you the options I have for you today. Before we begin, please do remember this is a general reading, so only take what resonates and leave the rest behind, because you are not the ugly stepsister. Please do not force that shoe onto your foot. I will never get tired of the view from up here. You really can see it all. The mountain peaks, the trees, the oceans, lakes and seas. I can go anywhere from here. All I have to do is relax and let the wind guide me. When I'm tired of this view, I come down and explore the towns and cities below. Whether they are big or small, I'm open to exploring them all. It's not until I take a moment to pause, close my eyes, and listen beyond the noise created by us, I'm then able to pick up the voice of the earth. The hummed message she is constantly sending me, like a beacon guiding me home. It can be difficult to pull myself away from the chaos of this world, but her message is strong and can no longer be ignored. I follow the beacon into a sea of trees. From above, I would be able to see that they grow taller than the skyscraper world I had just returned from, and range wider than my wingspan can reach. But I am amongst them now, as it is the only way in. Hidden amongst the branches and trees are the earth's secret inhabitants. They flutter around, giggling with glee at the presence of my return home. The ground beneath me feels cooler now. It's wet and the fallen leaves take refuge on the bottom of my feet. I'm close now. It's not until I'm almost submerged in water that I realize how weary I am. I allow the water to engulf me as I feel safe and warm within it. If you look up from here, the canopy of trees formulates an arrow-like signal. It serves as a reminder that my next adventure isn't too far away. Alright, hi there those of you who chose the first image. Let's go into some of the notes that I wrote whilst tapping in it to your higher self. I also pulled some tarot cards in the process, and yeah, so a lot of the imagery was about you almost flying or having some kind of wings, or your higher self at least embodying that kind of essence of someone who is able to get around really easily. Yeah, and I saw a lot of enjoyment coming from that. So maybe some of you guys have like Sagittarius placements or Gemini placements or something that just kind of makes you feel like you want to escape a lot in terms of like traveling, and you really enjoy exploring new places and experiencing new cultures and new things. When we started to explore more at that who you are or who your higher self is, they said like looking at me is like looking in a mirror. You know how many lifetimes I've been in or I've lived, and how many adventures I've gone on. So you're definitely like an older soul, a more mature soul, but I still feel like you have a lot of that like childlike carefree spirit to you. So maybe some of you guys even have like Leo placements as well, and also really connected to nature. It says here that like Mother Earth, she loves hearing your laughter and the joy you bring, and she knows sometimes you forget that this isn't like, this lifetime isn't so serious, or being human isn't that serious, and that we can let go at any time, and that everything we do has purpose and meaning, and we wouldn't do it if we didn't want to, if we didn't have to. This is our home. So there was almost like this duality of like a responsibility or a contract that you have with this planet, or at least like Mother Gaia or Earth, or whichever one of those words you want to put there. Yeah, it's like you have this like almost responsibility or contract. As much as you enjoy exploring and living life, there's almost like this contract to nurture Earth and to like and like, you know, bring positive change to Earth as well. In terms of how you can stay connected to your higher self, we had look to the stars, watch a movie, and energy work. So looking at your astrology placements, what is going on astrologically, you know, as they say, as above so below. I don't even know what that phrase actually means, but if we think of it literally, like what is happening in the sky is also influencing your own self, and like what is happening in your own life. Watch a movie, so a bit of escapism, especially if you can't like physically escape some of the time. And energy work as well, working with like chakras and things like that. Your crystal that came out was originally emerald, which I think kind of connects, but I didn't really connect to it too much, so I went and chose a different one, which is bronzite, which I think really relates in terms of it's a stone that helps strengthen or support your self-confidence and self-esteem. It can be helpful when you may be feeling overwhelmed, as it alleviates worry and allows you to live your life as it should be. It can help to limit doubt and indecisiveness and decrease self-depreciating thoughts, as well as it helps to strengthen the root chakra, so like kind of give you a bit more of that groundedness, especially if you are someone who is very up in the air, not airy fairy, but like again, someone who likes to escape a lot or likes to travel a lot. Like, you know, maybe sometimes you do need to like come back to earth and like ground. And again, in your story there was kind of like that message of like Mother Nature calling you home, or Gaia calling you back home, and calling you, almost like tapping into your soul a bit more, and like your soul's purpose, and like giving you that little reminder of why you're actually here and experiencing this lifetime. And then in terms of what disconnects you from your higher self, things like busyness, so being in like having too many things to do all the time, or again not really disconnecting from the mess of the world, but actually learning to sit in silence sometimes, maybe going to like more rural areas where there is more nature, especially if you live in like a city or something like that. Also like things like chaos. You need to be around water a lot, so you might find water very healing, very cleansing, as well as nature as well. You need places to escape and get lost in. Like I see you like just no plans, just vibes, like, you know, going in like obviously safety first, but going in forests or mountains or things like that, like just exploring to see what's around, like that kind of adventurous spirit. within you. And also feeling disconnected from your soul's calling can make you feel disconnected from your higher self, as in like feeling like you lack purpose, or you don't really know what direction you want to take, or how you want to invest your energy, you know, like what kind of projects or charities or causes is the word, I guess, what kind of causes you feel most aligned with you, or that you really want to give a lot of your energy to. Like if you don't really know those things, then I feel like you're going to feel more disconnected from your higher self as well. Yeah, I saw a lot of air sign energy as well, so that's Libra, Gemini and Aquarius. I have here materialism and indulgence. I don't know why I have that. I feel like, I'm trying to think, sorry, I filmed this a couple of days, I did this whole thing a couple of days ago, and I'm just now getting back to filming this part of the video. Materialism and indulgence, I feel like it was a bit of a double-edged sword. Like sometimes that can kind of lead you away from your true, from your core being, from who you are at your core, from who you are at your core. But also it is okay for you, or like it's very valid, or a valid desire for you to want to like indulge and experience a lot of like material abundance, I guess you could say, you know, like very earthly pleasures. You are highly blessed. It says Gaia loves you. You're the child of the earth, and yet you're also an explorer, and you have no limitations. So yeah, like anything is possible for you guys, you know, like there is really no limitations for what you guys need to do, although I feel like there is this slight like contract or obligation, sense of responsibility that you feel you have, or that you do have, to nurture certain parts of this world, like whether that's people, animals, the earth itself, like whatever your interest is. It probably really heavily has to do with like uplifting, or uplifting like the energy of the earth, or like, I'm trying to think of another word. It's very beneficial to like the world as a whole, you know, whether that's like recycling, or I don't know, maybe you're really passionate about thrifting clothes, or maybe you're like vegan, or you know, I feel like maybe you have a belief system that supports the growth of this planet. So that's everything that I have, you guys who chose image 1. Let me know down below if you connected to anything. Let me know what you thought of your story that I created for you guys. I think your one was kind of my favorite, I want to say, in terms of like what I put together, but yeah, let me know. If you liked the concept of this video, you can go ahead and, if you haven't yet, watch the story of your subconscious, and also let me know what part of your being you would like to have a story created about next. I was thinking maybe like an inner child one or something like that. Could be quite cool. But yeah, let me know, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.
All right. Can I get everyone's attention, please? We've got very important business to discuss today. Okay, let's get started. All right, that's all for today. You may all be dismissed. Hey, love, how are you? Hey, yeah, I'm good. I just had a difficult day, but I got a lot done, so I'm happy with the results. Are you sure that's what it is? It seems like there's more going on. I just wish people could see things the way I do. I'm never gonna force people to change, but I just hate knowing that things could be made easier for them if they would just join the cause. Although it's upsetting to know that they have chosen the harder path, I have to admit that I understand why they do. I mean, I get caught up in it too. The glitz and the glam of it all. You know, all the things that they tell us we should want, when there is so much more to this earthly experience than that.
last phrase, what that was all about, the revolution will not be televised. That was about the fact that the first change that takes place is in your mind. You have to change your mind before you change the way you live and the way you move. So when we said that the revolution will not be televised, we were saying that, like, that the thing that's going to change people is something that no one will ever be able to capture on film. It'll just be something that you see, and all of a sudden you realize, I'm on the wrong page, or I'm on the right page, but I'm on the wrong note. And I've got to get in sync with everyone else to understand what's happening in this country.
Although the board have decided to move ahead with Project Change, which I am so happy about. That is amazing, sweetie. You've been campaigning for that for years. Yeah, a couple of others have joined the team recently, and it's really helped push the energy forwards. We were thinking of sending a couple hundred new changes down, but we don't want to send them before they're ready. A couple of them have contracts similar to ours, and we know how difficult it was to fulfill ours. Yeah, but we did it. Very true. We got there in the end. And it was all worth it, if I do say so myself. Yeah, if I had to do it all over again with you, I would.
Okay, hey you there. Those of you chose image number 2, let's get into the notes that I wrote for you whilst I was, pulling cards, and also just generally channeling messages for you guys. In terms of your story came out a lot differently than the others. It felt more like it needed to be a dialogue than a descriptive story. Why? I don't know. Actually, I do know why. Straight away here, it says, just like the scales that represent Libra, I stand for justice. And I did feel as well there's an essence of a very Librarian essence to you guys, and maybe you guys have Libra placements, and also or maybe strong 7th house placements, because I felt like partnership was also very important, like partnership, community. So that's why I think dialogue was really important in terms of incorporating that you guys, there's an importance for your higher self to be surrounded by the right people and interact with the right kind of people, as well as maybe some kind of divine counterpart type idea going on, or soulmate partnership that, sorry, there is something in my eye, that you guys also will participate in this lifetime in some capacity. As soon as I started tapping into your energy, I felt a lot of mental pressure. So I felt like you guys are very intelligent people, your higher self at least. It's a very intelligent person. It's cosmic intelligence. You felt very otherworldly, a bit more detached from this world than option number 1. Or at least you have the ability to through your higher self. You would be the type of person who can really tap into the I can never say this word, Aztec. I'm gonna just leave that there. We'll put it on the screen. Records. And yeah, it felt like you guys really were able to communicate with different kind of entities or species or otherworldly beings, really maybe you guys experience astral travel or those kind of things. It felt very otherworldly when it came to you. You also had keywords like peacemaker and leader, so really you guys are in the room with the people making the rules, the people setting the standards, the people making decisions. So that may even reflect in your workplace or something like that. Yeah, I have here, walks in rooms with powerful people. And an ideas guy, you rule maker and cardinal energy, so that is Aries energy, Libra energy, Capricorn and Cancer. So you could have those energies prominent in your chart. I have the ones who incite change and come from a place where knowledge is power. So again, maybe you guys really connect to the idea of star seeds, or sorry, I just realized that the fan's on. Sorry, it just became background noise to me and I completely forgot to turn it off. Anyway, you might relate from coming from a planet where there is a lot of higher knowledge, science maybe. I don't really know what. I feel in on earth. Like science is kind of like the pinnacle of knowledge almost. Science and maths, which kind of go hand in hand sometimes. But yeah, I feel like you guys would find that interesting, or even if it's like not traditional science in our sense, but you know, like something like astrology or something like that, like a pseudoscience as they call it. And yeah, like you like to know how things work, and or your higher self likes to know how things work, and you like to try to make things better. I also felt a lot of Aquarian energy as well, like forward thinking, someone who wants to change things. You also might relate to being an INFJ, because there was also like this detachedness that I felt to you guys, like a ability to emotionally detach, and that came from that came from the fact that you guys are the type of people who need to make like tough decisions, you know, like so a leader, or say you're even like a leader of a team or a manager or something like that. Like if you need to fire someone who's not pulling their weight, if you need to like sort out conflicts, you know, like sometimes those people have to make tough decisions even when they are like very emotionally sensitive or in tune or something like that. Like you have that duality to you, or that ability to like detach when necessary for the greater good, is what I felt, as well as an ability to focus and like get shit done, you know. And it also has here, I also have here that you guys meet people where they're at. So it's like you're not going to force people to change. I feel like that came up in your story, in terms of like you guys really are not going to like, well, it's not that you're not going to be open to helping people, but you're not going to try and help people who don't seem like they want to be helped. Like they're not asking for you for your advice. They're not showing any signs of like changing, or showing any signs of like needing help, I guess. Like, you know, like bigots and stuff like that. Like I feel like you're not going to be the type of people on the internet like, no, you shouldn't say that because X, Y, and Z. Like you're just going to be like, okay, that's what they believe, they're wrong, but I'm not going to try and change that. Like what am I going to be able to do in terms of not a powerlessness, but like just a reasonable attitude. I feel like it's very me. Like I'm not going to try and force someone to change how they think or how they feel about a situation, because I just have no right to do that in a way. And it's just a bit like, how is that going to serve me, really? I'm just going to be wasting my time. I feel like that's it. It's like I'm going to be better or more useful putting my time into people who genuinely want to know something. So someone, maybe they're a bigot, but they're like, wait, maybe there's another way to think here. What do you think? Like those are more so the people you're going to be like, oh, here's what I think, like here's my advice, you know, here's my perspective. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, so here we have, I stand for what is right, and sometimes that means making the difficult decision. I never want to hurt people or cause harm, but not everyone can be happy in the progress to change. So again, like people like bigots, or people like you know, people that just don't really want to change, but things are changing anyway. Like you're still going to have empathy for those people, and you're still going to be able to maybe see a point of view what they have, or yeah, just I guess empathize with their position. But at the same time, you're not going to be like, oh, they're not ready for it, so let's all stay back and like not do anything, you know. Like again, if it's for the greater good, you're willing to make the tough decisions. Yeah, like it says, some people want to stay the same, and I respect their autonomy to choose to do so. I'm a forward thinker and I want a better future for us all, but I cannot do it alone. It does have here that I can be so lonely sometimes with only a few people bearing the responsibility that I do. But if this is what it takes to build the future I desire, then so be it. My time will come to be loved, to be taken care of, to be cherished, and until then I live for the people. I live to make their happiness a reality, to build a future that they too can thrive in. If I said it, I meant it. So you're very honest with your word. Again, very Librarian, which sometimes people will say that we can. I'm a Libra rising, but I feel like some people will say that like Libras can be a bit people pleasers and like tiptoe around the truth, which I think can be true. I've definitely been there, but I think once they kind of step into their power, like they have a really strong sense of like justice, and they don't mind being a little bit more maybe it's because I have like a Sag third house as well, like I'm just a little bit more honest, at least honest with what's what. You know, but again, they're gonna say it with a lot of tact, so there is that to them as well. If I said it and meant it, you should not doubt my word and never my capability to make meaningful change in this world. It really needs it. So other ways that you can connect to your higher self are to read. So again, educating yourself on particular topics or just generally reading maybe is really a way that you feel inspired or connected to your higher self. Spending time with friends, so again, that idea of like community relationships being really important for you. We had here Sweet Treat. I pulled a specific deck for this, so I might put them on the screen. So indulging a little bit in like sweetness, and not being too strict on yourself as well as build strength here. So moving your body a lot, again, that kind of like cardinal energy it's remind me of, and staying active, staying, I guess that kind of movement of the body is kind of like also making sure that energy stays moving and like things continue to progress. It also says, I see beyond the mundane and beyond the veil that falls upon our face from birth. So it's that kind of concept of like, you know, when you're born and you kind of forget why you incarnated or why you, or like your purpose and stuff like that. So for you guys, maybe you've always felt like this, or at least your higher self is able to see beyond the layers of this world. Like maybe you can see people's souls, or you feel like you can know things before they happen, or you know, you kind of like have that empathy. I'm trying to think of the actual word, I can't remember the word, but you can like see how people, or feel how people feel without them saying it. So like the veils people put on, the masks people put on, like you see beyond that. In terms of what can disconnect you from your higher self, getting caught up in like the glimmers, the mask of this world. So like, you know, things like money or buying things, or I don't know, these are all superficial things. But yeah, I guess kind of getting caught up in the superficial of things and like thinking like that's what's important, when really there is so much more that's important, especially for you guys. Seeing, again, you see beyond the layers of this world. So when you are, or your higher self is able to, so when you are getting caught up in like the very superficial layers of this world, then you might feel very disconnected from your higher self, or your higher self feels disconnected from you. Becoming obsessed and devoted to the things that don't matter and that don't bring you fulfillment can also take you away from your higher self. So maybe obsessing over people who aren't serving you, obsessing over situations that your intuition is telling you isn't actually going to happen, or like, you know, if you tapped into your intuition rather than like that kind of like obsessive anxious mind, then you would see that it's either not a big deal, or that you are, you know, protected and safe. Like, you know, there's kind of like more feminine qualities as well. Like I feel like you guys have a good balance of the masculine and feminine, but yeah, like the feminine kind of knows that things will always work out in her favor and feels very connected to like energies and stuff like that. So I feel like when you guys tap into that, you kind of have that ability to like act in terms of like a masculine energy, but also trust in the things that you can't control with that feminine energy. Was there anything else? So yeah, I do have a duality as well. I wrote this a couple of days ago, I did this a couple of days ago, so I'm a bit like, oh yeah, this is what I said. You believe in choice, has perspective, and is opening to share, and is open to sharing it with those who are interested. I heard the song I've Got the Whole World in My Hands, so definitely feel a little bit to pile one, who felt like they had a responsibility to the world. So I feel like you guys also feel like that essence of like a responsibility to make change or to make things better. Maybe you're very big on like legacy and leaving things behind and stuff like that. Even if that's not in the form of like children, it could be like, you know, doing something in terms of charity or something like that. I also saw that you guys transform a lot or go through different changes in your life, and it made me think of the character Nanny McPhee, if any of you guys have seen that, as the children, like she never forces, from what I can remember from the films anyway, she never, if you don't know what it is, it's a nanny who suddenly appears in like these troubled children's lives. They're very naughty children, and she's very like ugly. She's got warts, she kind of looks like kind of witchy, kind of scary, and but she also has magic powers. Sounds very weird if you don't know what I'm talking about. But like as the children like get better and learn and from their mistakes and stuff like that, like again, she allows the children to kind of be them and like have their character still, but also inspires them to change and better themselves. And as they do, she gets physically more beautiful. She goes through a physical transformation. So in that way, it kind of like reminds me of you guys in terms of like you're very open to like helping people, but you're not going to force them to change. And through that you go through like a lot of transformative moments. Some of them might even be physical as well as I don't know why, but I think her name is Melisandre, who I'm thinking of from Game of Thrones. If you don't know Manny McPhee, maybe you know Melisandre. She was very devoted to this idea of the light, the Lord of Light, and she would do anything to push the agenda forward, if that makes sense. So maybe a bit more of like a darker version of your higher self, maybe when you are like obsessing and going down the wrong path and like kind of forcing things to change rather than allowing things to change. And then she, at the end, you saw that she wasn't who you thought she was, and she went through kind of a physical transformation to show the lifetimes that she's been living to incite this change throughout her life. Okay, so option number 2, the crystal that came out for you was Guidebooks. I think I'm saying that right. It says here, Guidebooks has developed the nickname of the Stone of the Heartland due to its connection to the energies of unconditional love and its ability to root these energies into the earth plane through thoughts, feelings, and manifestations. Physical existence often puts a primary focus on our survival needs, food, shelter, and safety, leaving emotional needs in the background and fully ignored in some cases. This crystal provides one with the vitality to ensure survival needs are met, but also the love energy necessary to recognize and fulfill the heart's desires. It is a stone that brings balance to physical and emotional needs, so that one may live with a harmonious experience of the two. Again, there's that duality, the linking of the two, not leaning into one more than the other, but valuing both. So yeah, and it strongly links the heart and roots together, root chakras I'm guessing, obviously, opening the doorway to increase synchronicities that bridge the gap between what must be done and what the heart wishes to do. That really does relate to you guys in terms of like, you know, making tough choices. Even if you feel emotionally connected to something, you're not going to allow that thing to overpower you. And again, you're not going to be ruthless on the other side of that either, and like completely ignore the emotional aspect of things either. Okay, that is everything. I feel like I've been talking forever. That is everything that I have for you. Option number 2, let me know down below if you connected to anything. Let me know what you thought of your story that I created for you guys. If you liked the concept of this video, you can go ahead and, if you haven't yet, watch the story of your subconscious, and also let me know what part of your being you would like to have a story created about next. I was thinking maybe like an inner child one or something like that. Could be quite cool. But yeah, let me know, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.
I do wish things could be easier than this. I've seen the depth of pain and suffering in this world, and I wish people knew that you've got to go through it to get through it. I wasn't ready for my awakening, but it came when I most needed it, and I am forever grateful for that. Now I can help others through theirs. I want to guide them out of the darkness so that they can once again feel the warmth of the light. And yes, rules do make this easier for me. Structures to follow allow things to get done in the way they're supposed to. Then everyone will be safe, and no lost soul will get left behind. I've seen it, I've lived it, and I've transmuted it. The thing that everyone is so scared to face: themselves. It is within ourselves that the truth of the universe resides. The inner knowing that we are nothing and everything all at once. And that we can at any time become like them, experience heartbreak or loss or frustration, or alternatively love, connection and joy. We each have infinite potential and an abundance of opportunity to choose to come home to ourselves once more. And no, I don't know it all. It may be a couple of lifetimes before I have all the answers, but I am ready to try with what I do have. I'm ready to make a difference in this world. I want to make things easier for those who are suffering the most by guiding them to a place of readiness where they can receive the same truth that I once did.
Hi there, those of you who chose image number 3. This is a little part where I go into all of the all of the notes that I wrote for you guys. I kept forgetting to say until like later on, but I had filmed this, or I had done the whole like channeling and tarot cards and stuff for your pile like a while ago now, so I'm like refreshing my mind with you guys. So for you guys, we have here as above so below. Again, I said this in option number 1 actually. I don't know 100% what that phrase even means. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I did hear the phrase, so maybe that's something you live by or something that often pops up in your lived experience. For you guys, funny enough, I felt like your higher self was a bit of a rule follower, you know, like you're someone who seemed a bit more, what I pictured when I saw your higher self, what was the image? The image was like a sunset, right? And I really saw the energy and the kind of like a barrier around. I feel like this is not going to make any sense, but anyway, how I visualized it, it felt like your higher self came across as like a protector. Like I felt like your higher self was like almost this like engulfing energy of like protection. So maybe some of you guys have like Cancer energies in your chart, something like that, or Capricorn maybe. You feel very grounded people, very realistic people, people who have experienced like the harder parts of life, who have really seen things, you know, like the nitty gritties, like like if anyone had like a tough experience in life, I feel like it would be you guys as a collective. So your higher self feels like a protector. They really want to keep people safe, and safe from themselves as well. So like people who might be in the care field, mental health issues, addiction issues, people who are in prison, like those kind of energies. So even you could have like Pisces placements as well, because that's like kind of very 12th house energy, seeing like the people who are often hidden away. So it's reminding me of like LA, the idea of LA and like Hollywood, and how it's promoted as like this grand place with like people with money and like famous people and all these cool things, but actually when you go there, so many people say like the homelessness is so bad there, and like there is so much, like when you're on the ground of it basically, and you're not looking through it from a screen, or you're not reading about it, like it feels a lot more real, and you see like the grittiness of the place, and like the hard lessons and the hard lives that people have lived in that state in the place in LA. And compared to option number 2, I feel like you guys help people who may not be ready to either help themselves, or they're not capable of helping themselves. So like, you know, elderly people, people who maybe are mental health place institutions, will have mental health issues, people who have addictions. Like I feel like you guys are more willing to, or at least maybe this is something you're still learning, like the boundaries between when it's time to step in and like help people and give, and when you should like really pour into yourself, because I did feel like your soul was a bit of a younger soul, a bit more learning a lot more difficult lessons, I would say, as well. Although sometimes I hate to like call a very like painful experiences lessons, but it helps me personally to see things as lessons. So maybe on the same wavelength, I don't know, but yeah. But like, yeah, it's like you guys know what it is to be in that position. So maybe you've experienced some of these things, and like now you can really relate to these kind of people. You have a lot of empathy for them because you've literally at some point been them. And I think I mentioned this in your story. Yes, it says here, I'm pretty Scorpionic if you ask me. So maybe you guys have like Scorpio placements or Pluto heavily aspecting certain placements in your chart, like your sun, your moon, something like that. Like you've really seen it. You've seen the depth of people experience maybe very intense traumas, something like that. Yeah, it says here, I'm fearless and bold and alone and afraid. I am everything and nothing in between. No identity sticks because I am forever changing. I am inherently malleable despite the limitations of my skin. So it's like your higher self has been on the extremes of things. So again, very Scorpionic, has really experienced the good and the bad of life, has seen the good and the bad in life, and you know that it's very easy to move from one extreme to the next. Like you're not going to judge people on either extreme, or you're not likely to judge people on either extreme, because you know that it's very easy to experience both those things, to be both those type of people. So again, very Piscean, like the duality, the ability to, the boundlessness of you, of your higher self, to really empathize with all types of people and so many different experiences as well. Also here it says, I know where you've been and how to guide you out of the darkness. So yeah, you're very open to helping people out of their dark experiences. Your life has many lessons, and you're also here to learn from others and hone your skills. I felt a bit of resistance to like maybe saying that you might be a younger soul in terms of like the grand scheme of things, in terms of like maybe option 1 and 2. Yeah, I felt like maybe calling you a younger soul, like you're like, I'm not a younger soul, but I mean, like, you know, you could live like how many lifetimes and still be a little bit of a younger soul compared to some other people, or just like your soul's experiences, even though this is a higher self, but you know, higher self, soul connected. I feel like your soul's experiences in this lifetime are to really, it almost felt like your soul was not just, but like a couple of lifetimes in, like a few lifetimes in of, or your higher self was a few lifetimes in of like recognizing their own pain and suffering and like healing it, as well as trying then to go out and help others through theirs, if that makes sense. Because that is a lot of different layers, you know, to like actually experience the thing, to recognize and acknowledge that you're experiencing it, then to heal it and transmute the energy and the pain, and then to actually go and help other people through theirs as well. So there's a lot of different layers. I know there's a lot of, I feel like that takes a lot of lifetimes to like actually to get to that point, you know. So I feel like you guys are at that point now where you're kind of like willing to go and help other people through theirs, or you're looking to help other people through theirs. In terms of what connects you to your higher self, things like being connected to the earth, so going out in nature, massages, so like physical touch could be like a really important thing for you, as well as like pressure points, so maybe like things like acupuncture or yeah, or just massages, whatever. Grounding, traveling, planning vacations, experiencing new cultures, and also, yeah, again, intimacy was really important for you guys as well. So feeling connected to people and feeling the I feel like intimacy, like physical touch, like things like that, our senses are really what makes us like human. So I feel like indulging in those things really connects you to your higher self as well. And what disconnects you is feeding into fear, not taking like risks in life, and a lack of trust or faith, you know, as well as being presented with new situations. Because I felt you guys are a little more grounded. Maybe you have a lot of earth energies or more fixed energies, and I felt like the idea like for goodness sake, get your words out of, I felt like the idea that you had to, when you have to step into something new, there might be a bit of resistance to that for you guys, and that kind of like disconnects you from your higher self a bit. And in terms of like a character that I felt embodied you guys' your higher self's energy was Finding Nemo, but well, that's not the character. Nemo's dad in Finding Nemo, I feel like that really embodies your energy, because he kind of has that whole rules are important because they keep you safe. You know, he's experienced the harshness of life. He wants to protect Nemo from it. Why can I not even remember what the dad's called? But the dad. But when he's forced to, when Nemo gets lost, he has to break through all those kind of like rigidness, those rigid thoughts that he had. He's got to go out and explore things, and even though he is older or more mature, he is still experiencing so much for the first time, seeing so much of the ocean or the sea, whatever he's in, for the first time, and meeting new people along the way, and also helping Dory, because Dory is very much like, she kind of gives the energy of someone who is incapable of helping themselves, you know, the short-term memory loss or short-term memory loss, so she can't help herself a lot of the time, so he's kind of like there helping her and guiding her and stuff like that along the way, and like teaching her, oh sorry, something in my eye, teaching her things as well. And yeah, and lots of good things come from that. So that is everything that I have for you guys. Option number 2, 3, even option number 3. Gosh, I'm getting delirious at this point. If you enjoyed this reading, you know what to do, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye.